It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Lo Dayenu. If we had protested police use of tear gas, rubber bullets, pepper spray, and rifles pointed at protesters, and forgotten that we are all B'Tselem Elohim, created in God's image, Lo Dayenu. So I was arrested on October 22nd, and that was the National Day Against Police, highlighting police brutality. And I had a meeting beforehand, and I got out to Fargesn, and there was some barriers there, and somebody moved the barrier, and it had to have been like 100 police came out from nowhere. And Melissa and I were both arrested, along with my djembe, and taken to Clayton. We spent several hours there, and that was an interesting and awful experience that I wish on nobody. It was awful. The kind of absolute disregard for humanity, there was a lot of tussling and wanting to throw me to the ground and twisting of arms, and it just seemed an overproduction of an arrest. And it seemed totally unnecessary. But I told the police officer that since this is the National Day Against Police Brutality, that I would take one for the team, that you go on, keep beating me, because I will make sure that everyone knows what happens here in Fargesn. And he backed down a little, like that was enough to keep him from throwing me to the ground, which is what he told me he was going to do. But they were brutalizing us. I mean, the cuffs were as tight as I can't even describe to you how tight the cuffs were. And they kept us in the van for what seemed like an hour, but I know it was probably, 20 or 30 minutes. So they kept us there for a while, just sitting there in the back of a van in the end of October with, whatever we had on. I don't even remember. It was a cool night. And so then they processed us, and then they drove us all the way to Clayton to have us sit there in jail until we could get out. So it was just a remarkable time, really, like I said, an overproduction of arresting somebody. After all of that, there was no charge. If we have sparked a human rights revolution that would unite people all over the world and not followed our present-day Nakshones as they help us part the sea of white supremacy and institutional racism, Lo Dayenu. There was talk about having a HAGGADAH supplement for the Black Lives Matter movement and Passover, and I thought it was a fantastic idea, and so I became a part of the group that put it together, and we got to pick what we wanted to do. And I remember over the course of several Passovers over the years that Dayenu was one of those songs that I loved to sing. And so I thought that might be something I could spend some time rewriting and focusing in on the Black Lives Matter movement. Some of it was just kind of sitting down and thinking about all of the experiences and the chants that were happening out on the street, and thinking about the words of Asada Shakur. But I also had an experience with Rabbi Adler when she was here in town, and she talked about Lamentations. And I remember her reading that specific passage about lift up your hands to Hashem for your children as they are on the street. And I just thought of hands up, don't shoot. I'm like, that is what we're doing. We're putting our hands up, asking, pleading for help. That we need help. This is beyond something that we can do individually. We need Hashem, but we also need our community to come together. If we had marched for those killed, chanting, hands up, don't shoot, and not recall the words of Echa, lift up thy hands toward Hashem for the life of thy young children that faint for hunger at the head of every street. Lo Dayenu. So the goal for the Haggadah is to continue the conversation, to not let that be the end. Passover isn't the end of the Jewish story. And so this Haggadah is not the end of the Black Lives Matter movement and the Jewish story together. So the goal is to continue the conversation, to continue the struggle, to continue the fight together.